Patrick Joseph Wilson was born on July 3, 1973, in Norfolk, Virginia, and grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida. He was the youngest of three boys in a family steeped in music and education. His father, John Wilson, worked as a WTVT news anchor, while his mother, Mary Kay, was a professional voice teacher and singer. Music wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. From a young age, Patrick was surrounded by song. With his mother's coaching and the household's musical leanings, he started singing seriously before he even hit his teens. By high school, he was performing in choirs and school plays, honing not just his voice, but his stage presence. But Patrick wasn't just another theater kid. He had range, and not just vocally. He was athletic, sharp in class, and deeply curious about how performance could shape an audience. When it came time to choose a path after high school, there was little hesitation. He applied and was accepted into Carnegie Mellon University's School of Drama, one of the top acting programs in the U.S. There, he spent 4 years immersed in classical training, learning not just to act, but to understand characters, what made them tick, what made them real. This foundation would shape everything that came next. He wasn't aiming to be famous. He wanted to be good. After graduating from Carnegie Mellon in 1995, Patrick Wilson didn't rush into Hollywood. Instead, he honed his craft in theater, joining touring productions, and eventually landing his Broadway debut in Tommy 1996, a rock opera based on The Who's classic album. His performance as Uncle Ernie drew attention. He had charisma, vocal strength, and a presence that read as both vulnerable and electrifying. That initial success led to more Broadway roles, including The Full Monty 2000, a musical adaptation about unemployed steelworkers turning into male strippers. Patrick's portrayal of one of the struggling characters earned him widespread praise. Broadway stage became his training ground, 8 shows a week, emotional endurance, and connecting directly with live audiences. But his ambition wasn't confined to the stage. Wilson made his feature film debut in Little Children 2006, playing a supporting role that introduced him to serious cinema. The film's intimate drama allowed Patrick to demonstrate his acting beyond singing and stage presence. He proved he could handle quiet intensity and moral complexity. Soon he caught the attention of genre filmmakers. His clean-cut, empathetic face projected the kind of reliability that horror and thriller films covet. By 2008's The Phantom of the Opera, he played Raoul, a romantic lead opposite Emmy Rossum. Though the film received mixed reviews, Wilson's voice and chemistry with the cast left a strong impression. All the while, he kept landing roles in smaller dramas like Running with Scissors and Lakeview Terrace, solidifying his range. It wasn't until 2013 that the big break in mainstream Hollywood arrived, Insidious. As the devoted husband determined to save his son from supernatural forces, Patrick anchored a new wave of quality horror, earning both box office success and genre respect. He went on to star in the next Conjuring sequels, building a reputation as one of modern horror's most dependable leads. He played Ed Warren in The Conjuring 2013, The Conjuring 2 2016, and The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It 2021. Audiences trusted him to carry fear and sincerity, eyes wide, heart open, across increasingly terrifying stories. By the late 2010s, Patrick Wilson had earned a solid reputation in Hollywood not for blockbuster heroics, but for grounded, emotionally rich performances. His journey from Broadway to heartfelt horror led straight to the Conjuring universe, a franchise built less on jump scares and more on characters we believe in. In The Conjuring 2013 and The Conjuring 2 2016, Patrick took on the role of Ed Warren, the real-life paranormal investigator whose calm strength anchored each terrifying situation. His on-screen partnership with Vera Farmiga as Lorraine Warren became the emotional core, a husband and wife who faced darkness together, held tight by love and conviction. Patrick gave Warren a warm authority, never overshadowing the horror, but guiding us through it. Then came The Devil Made Me Do It, 2021, where Patrick navigated legal chills and moral ambiguity, playing a man caught between faith, doubt, and the unexplainable. He showed us that horror doesn't just hide in creaking doors, but in courtroom hushes, whispered confessions, and inner turmoil. And now, the next chapter, The Conjuring. Last Rites, scheduled for release in 2025, promises to bring the Warrens face to face with their most harrowing ordeal yet. Though plot details remain under wraps, early promotions hint at themes of ritual sacrifice and the line between saving souls and losing them. Patrick returns as Ed Warren, older, yet still driven by a belief others mock. His character may be pressured, fractured, but still a leader holding a family unit under extraordinary threat. Industry whispers suggest the film will explore not just paranormal horror, but spiritual endurance, testing Ed and Lorraine's faith in ways never seen before. There are rumors of intense practical effects, real atmospheres, and emotional arcs that echo the franchise's roots: hope in darkness, love in fear. With this new installment, Patrick Wilson is less an actor playing horror, he is a protector, a man who stands between evil and family. The trailer may not be out yet, but his presence commands attention. We're being invited once more to believe in people first, and the terror comes second. After years of standing at the center of fear, Patrick Wilson finally stepped behind the camera and found a new kind of thrill. In 2023, he directed Insidious: The Red Door, a bold move for someone known primarily as a dependable actor. But Wilson had spent enough time inside horror to understand its anatomy. He wasn't just performing it, he felt it. Directing was never a passing interest. He'd long observed directors like James Wan Lee Wannell and others, watching how they framed emotion and fear. On set, Patrick was always curious, always asking questions. So when the opportunity came to lead a chapter in the very franchise that launched his horror legacy, he was more than ready. And the pressure immense. He had to perform double-duty acting in some of the film's most emotionally raw scenes while directing his co-stars through nightmarish sequences. But Patrick thrived. He said later that stepping behind the camera gave him a new language for performance. Every silence, every flicker of light or sound, he now had control over all of it. Critics noted the depth. While The Red Door didn't revolutionize the genre, it reaffirmed what fans already knew. Patrick Wilson wasn't just a leading man, he was a storyteller. The film was personal, nostalgic, and explored the trauma of the first two Insidious films with emotional clarity. But then came the announcement that gave fans chills: The Conjuring: Last Rites. The final chapter in the main saga, the ultimate test for Ed and Lorraine Warren. The final ritual not just for the characters but perhaps for Patrick himself. This wasn't just another sequel, it was the culmination of over a decade of supernatural storytelling. Patrick's face, calm yet cracking under pressure, had become iconic. He was no longer playing Ed Warren, he was Ed Warren. Through loss, fear, love, and sacrifice, audiences saw themselves in his steadiness. Insiders suggest that Last Rites will dive deeper than any previous entry. Beyond hauntings and possessions, the film reportedly explores faith breakdown, physical vulnerability, and a crisis of identity within the Warrens. Some say it's the darkest script of the series. And Wilson, now both performer and potential future director, brings that full experience to the role. Whether or not he directs future horror films, Last Rites feels like a send-off, not just to a character but to a chapter of Patrick's career. He's not just walking away from Ed Warren, he's honoring him, shaping his legacy one last time. After nearly 3 decades in entertainment, Patrick Wilson has moved far beyond being just a talented singer or dependable actor. He's now a multi-talented storyteller, an actor, director, and defining face in contemporary horror. His journey reminds us that real growth often unfolds quietly through persistence, authenticity, and emotional depth. He's built a career that values substance over spectacle. From musical theater training at Carnegie Mellon to emotionally charged Broadway performances, Patrick learned early that connection with the audience matters more than applause. Moving to film, he proved he could anchor stories, whether carrying silent emotional weight in Little Children or leading frightening intensity in movies like Insidious, and The Conjuring. His portrayal of Ed Warren became iconic, a grounded, loving, and haunted husband who faces real darkness with unwavering conviction. Through each Conjuring installment, Patrick has reminded us that horror isn't just about screams, it's about belief, devotion, and the courage to stand firm when everything falls apart. Directing Insidious, The Red Door marked a new milestone. It showed he's not just interpreting fear, he's orchestrating it. He's begun to influence the genre from the other side of the camera, shaping tension atmosphere and character-driven horror that doesn't rely on tricks. And now, The Conjuring Last Rites awaits. Expected to be the final ritual, this film closes a story arc that Patrick helped build with every scene, every glance, every sacrifice. It's more than a conclusion. It defines his path. He's not just closing a chapter, he's setting the stage for what comes next. Whether he continues directing returns to stage or dives into projects deeper still, one thing is certain. Patrick Wilson doesn't just follow expectations, he reshapes them. So as Last Rites premieres and the lights come up, audiences won't just see a final horror movie. They'll see the culmination of a life and career built on passion, versatility, empathy, and quiet strength. That's the real legacy of Patrick Wilson, a man who refuses to stay still, a creative driving forward. And whatever comes after Last Rites, know this, his next role is already waiting. Because Patrick isn't done yet, and neither should we expect him to be.